Hey everyone, this is Corine Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host and favorite girl, of course. Broadcasting to you from the lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean on Between the Lines. And I always start my show off being thankful, or some people may say grateful. I am so happy to be here. I'm alive and thankful. Clear blue skies. I woke up to clear blue skies. It didn't take very long after, I think probably an hour or so, half an hour, and then I started to see clouds, but beautiful, beautiful. And I see my guest is looking around at her sky and around her environment to
That's
see if
right.
the sky is clear and as
Yes,
beautiful
ma'am.
and as
Yep,
beautiful as it is in the Caribbean. I think it's the same sky. I don't think it's a different sky. But
I think you're right.
so let me tell you a bit about my guest. And we have with us today Jen Slumac. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Perfectly.
Thank you. I do try. So let me tell you a bit about her. First to begin, she's supposed to be black. I don't know why she's looking white. So clearly she needs to, right?
She
I don't
adopted me. You
understand what
adopted
happened
me
there.
in.
I
You
really don't
adopted me in
understand.
already.
Right? She's supposed to be black. Okay, people, I don't know what she's doing. She, but she is supposed to be black, and you will see it when I promote the show and you see her picture. I'm going to actually show you the picture. Okay? I'm going to share my screen and share the picture, and you will see that she's supposed to be black. All
You
right?
are so funny. That's high tech, mommy. You know how to do all that while you're talking?
All right. Of
That's high
course, I
tech.
multitask. I'm in the Caribbean. Hey, I'm in the
Hey,
Caribbean.
hey.
All right, so let me tell you what we're talking about today. Are you living on the margin?
Hmm.
Yeah, are you living on the margin? And let me see something here. I'm gonna do something crazy here. One second.
What are you doing?
You just hold on.
Oh my goodness.
I am gonna do something crazy. Hold on. Oh, it's not here. You're lucky. Oh yes, it is here. Here it is.
I'm scared of you. What are you doing?
Here it is. Now look at this picture. Yeah? Look at this picture.
Uh,
She's supposed to be black, right? This is a beautiful black woman. Not that she's not beautiful as she is now, but she's supposed to be black. Okay, people, I know you will agree with me. So I'm just showing you what she's supposed to look like. So I don't know who is this woman here with a back to front cap on my
uh,
show. Okay. Yes.
you're so funny.
So this is Jen Slumac, fake Jen Slumac. The real Jen Slumac is in the picture,
The
right?
imposter. Yeah, yeah.
She's the author of Soul, Not Skin. See it? There is another thing. Soul. That's
Hmm.
associated with black. Soul, not skin. Becoming the me I was meant to be. She is a mentor, educator, and performer. She's worked on TV, radio, and stage. Her passion is connecting with and bearing witness to those who live on the margins. She
Yes,
worked
ma'am.
in jail. I wonder if she was in jail, but she said she worked in jail, schools, and churches whose systems often harm rather than help. Her faith journey continues, and she feels that her real work has just begun. Welcome, Jen, to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much for having me. What a treat. What a treat. Really.
Yes.
Boy,
Where are you hanging out there in the bushes? Where are you?
I'm in the bushes.
You're in the
Uh,
bushes.
uh, I'm in Arizona, actually.
Yeah.
I finally got to take a little bit of a break. So I'm in Arizona, and I learned about 5 minutes ago that I'd be on video. I guess I should have known that. But so I decided, well, instead of showing the patio that I'm on, maybe I'll go out into the bushes and hang out where it's beautiful. So
That's
yeah,
right. Nature is the way to go. It looks fabulous.
always. Thank you
Nature
so
is the
much.
way to go. And I think I'm hearing some of your birds in the background.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. It's amazing. It's just really amazing. I got to get up this morning and spend a little time with God and coffee and
Oh yeah, God and coffee is
just,
a good combination. You don't need
you know
any.
what I mean? That's all I need. A little bit of
God
sleep, a
and
little bit of God,
coffee.
a little bit of coffee.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You're set. You're set. You're
that's it.
set.
And now
So,
I got a little bit of you.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
See?
oh yeah. You're set for life. That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
God, the coffee, and Corine. You're set for life. So, Jen, we are talking about, are you living on the margin? Now, I grabbed that from your bio and from your website, and I liked it. living on the margin, what does that mean to you?
Well, just I think growing up in forming an identity of otherness, just feeling sort of on the outside. And I think a lot more of us really relate to that than we give ourselves credit for. But in particular, I work with folks who are, in situations that sort of are born of just deprivation, poverty, the abandonment of, being abandoned by systems, by family, by society. And so it's certainly a physical state to be on the margins, but I think that a lot of us can feel very lost and abandoned within ourselves as well, which creates, I think, a lot of outward conflict.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite guys, his name is Father Gregory Boyle. He's a Jesuit priest, and he created this program in Los Angeles, Los Angeles, California, called Homeboy Industries. And it's a huge organization that serves men and women who leave gangs and abandon that lifestyle in exchange for one of kinship with one another, and working together and healing their own separateness and their own otherness, and their own marginality by coming together in spite of colors and gangs and race and all of these things. And that Father Gregory Boyle, he says, we work on the margins. We work with the people on the margins, not necessarily to change them, but so that we can stay changed. So that we can stay vulnerable, so we can stay connected to that which matters. I think it's a beautiful kind of idea.
It is, and that's really how it's meant to be, honestly.
Yeah.
That's really how it's meant to be. And you mentioned you mentioned a word, vulnerable. That is something that a lot of people are running from.
Yes.
Because it means that you're exposing yourself. It means that your weaknesses, if there are such things, would show. It means to say that you're open to criticism. You're open to, you mentioned abandonment or rejection. And that is a painful thing for us. But what we need to really figure out is, why are we feeling such pain at the perception, and I use the word perception, of abandonment, because it is a perception.
That's great. I love that. Yes, absolutely true.
The perception of rejection.
Yes.
Why?
Because we have our footing in the wrong things. We have our roots in the wrong things. Vulnerability is scary to ego. Vulnerability is showing what's really happening and being exposed and having you see that I'm not perfect, right? That's all that is pulling the curtain on a delusion. We're not intended to be perfect. We learn by making mistakes. We thrive after we failed. So this idea and this, wearing this sort of mask of I've got it all together, we're causing ourselves our own pain, and we're widening the moats that keep us from each other, because we insist on focusing on the differences that we perceive, and we forget to connect. Mother Teresa said, and I love this too, she said, the only problem in this world is that we have forgotten that we belong to each other.
Some people are not even thinking that, Jen. Belong to each other, please.
I got a hug for their goofy butts.
Right? Belong to each other. That is so far-fetched. That is not even crawling in the minds of anybody right now. That is so far-fetched.
But it's so true.
It is. It is
so true.
And what I say to people, we attach ourselves to so many things that define us: the job, the car, the house, the money, please, where you live,
even the gender and the race and the sexual orientation, all of the stuff.
You just attach yourself to these things. And if you were stripped of it, who would you be, really?
That's right.
What would you be? Are you going to just dig a hole and jump in it and bury yourself? What?
Well, and I think
people take that route. Some people take the suicidal route, because when they're stripped, they're like, nobody. Who am I? Nobody would know me. Nobody would like me. They base their whole life around that. And we're talking margin here. I mean, that's really off the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the fear, right? When we're living in ego and when we're thinking about self, then everything is rooted in fear. And this world operates that way, but we've got to rise above and challenge ourselves to be rooted in love and to just, it is vulnerable and it is scary, but it's the only thing that can hold us. It's the only thing that can connect us and grow us. I mean, as powerful as we like to think that we are in our different, in our different armies, whatever those armies are, in our different cliques or groups or whatever we call ourselves in our different groups, separate from one another, we are so much more powerful if we were to drop that and just join together.
How do people drop that, Jen, when they have been holding on to it for years, when we have been socialized by our parents, media, society, schools? How do we drop that? The ego. You think the ego is going to just watch you and say, hold on, you're going to just let go of me like that? Are you out of your damn mind? I am going to do everything that I can to make sure that you stay with me. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, for me that had to happen. And for those of us who I consider us lucky to have gone through some of what I've gone through and some of what some of us have gone through. And that is, when self-reliance fails us, for me, it was alcoholism, or identity as a white girl who was raised in a Black community, right? Who felt ugly.
I told you you're Black.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I grew up with different ideas of, I didn't want to here's something for you. This is just true. When I was a little girl, I didn't want to grow up and to be a white woman because then I would look like the man, so to speak. And it was in conflict with everything that my friends and my community that embraced me, it just didn't align. It didn't match. And so what do we have to do to escape the ego is that we have to crash and burn, man.
Crash and burn.
Yes, ma'am. We have to have it.
Burn.
We just have to, do you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Yes, ma'am. We have to realize that everything that we've constructed to appear to belong has us feeling vacant, has us feeling empty, has us feeling without. And the only thing that fills me, the only thing that can create peace in my life is being connected to spirit.
That's right.
And in my connection to spirit, just in my own relationship with spirit, not even connection, but nurturing a relationship with spirit, in doing that, that's where I start to realize that we're all clamoring for identity on this earth, and we're practicing to look like we fit and we're okay and we're enough. But it's so clear, it's so easy to see through the spirit that wants to shine, that is trying to hide and be smaller than what the ego says it's allowed to be. Exactly. And we're in there. Everybody that I see on this planet, I look in their eyes and I see somebody's baby,
Yeah.
I said, oh Lord, you're somebody's baby in there. That little ball of spirit that came to this earth and got challenged to become a servant, you know?
Yeah. And not allowing it to blossom. And you're absolutely right. There's a sort of vacancy, emptiness, that no matter how many cars you have, how many houses, how much money you have in the bank, how many times you travel, there's a loneliness that goes with you, and it can only be filled when you're connected to source, spirit, God, Jesus, whatever people want to call him or her. You're always searching. There's never enough. You when you're living in the egoistic state and you're living on that margin and you're trying to fit into the box and the frame that people put you into, society, your parents, the school, and everything. You're like, okay, so I got the car.
Yeah.
All right. So I got
it's a nice car too.
Right.
Look
I mean, all the girls are calling me. When I step out, the men are looking at me. Hello, please. Right.
Hello.
Yeah. So when I do all of that, what's next? I want something else to challenge me, and it never satisfies the ego because it always wants more. And there's nothing wrong with challenging yourself or wanting more, but when you are filled with spirit and with source, and you realize who you are, that you don't need to You don't need to please or
That's
satisfy
right.
an external
You're
person.
enough.
You're
You're
enough.
enough.
You're enough.
And enough is enough. Enough is enough. Boy, enough is so much. Oh Lord,
You're
there's so much in
enough.
enough.
Your self-worth is through the roof. When somebody is coming to tell you, oh, why you are like this, and you're like, excuse you? Excuse you. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're so funny. Yeah. No, but that's real. That's real talk. I mean, that's
Yeah.
real, you know.
Yeah, you're
And
like,
I think it's
excuse you. You don't suffer from abandonment. You don't have the
yeah.
pain of rejection because you realize, hold on, I am actually repelling you. You're not rejecting me. I'm actually repelling you. You cannot hang around in this frequency. You're not vibrating at the same level. You're just not there. So when we
Yeah, and you
feel
know
that
what?
somebody, yeah, when we feel somebody has rejected us and like nobody wants us, nobody loves us, you're repelling them. You're actually repelling them, pushing them away. They don't fit. They don't fit.
Because they can't see it.
No.
And you know what?
No.
With being in the space of spirit, I'm able to then see and hope for them that they will find that.
Oh my
You know,
God. It
I
takes
see.
them a while, Jen.
Well, it took me a while. I think
True.
it takes. I think that's the journey, right?
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah.
I think that's the journey. It's like we're born into this world full of toys and mirages, you know, and we're just like, okay, baby, go now. How long is it gonna take you to come back to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead and play.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna find nothing to play with that's gonna be as fulfilling as sitting here with me at my feet and
That's
hanging
right.
out with me.
That's right.
You know, and
So
so
keep running. Keep
I see
running.
these big beautiful spiritual hands sort of placing my baby spirit on this planet and saying, go ahead and play, honey. But you know what?
Yeah.
My lap is right here. So whenever you're ready to come back to it, because you know, when you think you find something better than my lap, then go ahead, you know,
Go
enjoy
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
enjoy
I
it.
say the same thing. I
But
say
when
the
you
same
bang your
thing.
head on something, you know, come back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I know
You're
that
that.
hurts. Don't do that.
I know. But you're that comfortable with yourself that you can let people go. And you know, that takes me back to Corinthians, you know. Corinthians that talks about love. You know, if you love something, you let it go. You don't
Yeah.
hold on to something if you love it. It's going to
Yeah.
come back to you if it's meant to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
as opposed to love, the love that people are doing now is that they're holding on to you. Nobody else can have you. Nobody else should have you. That is not love. That's
That's right.
control. That's
That's right.
abuse. That's selfishness. That, I mean,
Love has a desire for others to thrive. Love
of
has
course.
love provides space.
Yes.
Love affords room to grow, you know. But I have to be rooted. I have to be rooted in a love that's that great.
Yeah.
Rooted in it. Rooted in it. I
Yes.
have to be rooted in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this book is about, is all about how the
Mm-hmm.
identities form around us,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we're given as children, these ideas that the people who are on this planet when we arrived, the ideas that society hands us as identities, the you know, other people's perceptions of what I am allowed to do and not to do, and allowed to be and not to be, and what God would have created and what God wouldn't have created, and I'm right and I'm wrong, and all of these different
Yeah.
things that the world puts on us when we arrive, these costumes, right?
Yeah.
That we
Yeah.
are sort of asked to grow into.
Yeah.
And the journey that it took for me to move through that toward peace, you know, where I fortunately and thankfully am today is, and I'm still growing, but
Of course.
I don't feel the need to wear the labels that the world has given me. I still do sometimes, because people call you by your name and you
Yeah.
got to answer, right? Because we
Yeah.
use names on this planet, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, people used to call me names, or ugly names,
Ugly names.
or something like that, and it used to hurt deep, because I thought maybe they were right.
Mm-hmm.
But now I know that the ugly is not true for me, but it's expressing their own pain.
That's right. And they're
And
projecting it on you.
yeah, and I've had to learn to hear that differently. So somebody
Yeah.
calls me an ugly name, instead of giving them the power to have hurt me, I imagine like that they're calling me a Chevrolet. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's silly. Why would you call me a Chevrolet? That doesn't make any sense. You know, you're clearly confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly you are mistaken in thinking that I'm a vehicle, a car, you know.
Yeah.
So it just, and then you can sort of dismiss the confusion rather than absorbing their pain.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like we were saying off air before we got started, you were saying, you know, when people annoy you, you're just thankful that you can hear them.
Amen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If I was deaf, I couldn't hear you. So I'm so thankful that I can hear you.
Woo,
I am so thankful.
That shrill voice. Complain. Hallelujah. I can hear all of it. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. And from the time you say that to someone, they would look at you as either you're going woo woo, you need to be in the or they laugh. It's one out of the two. And either one is better than them just continuing to be angry at you, projecting at you, and you reacting to that.
That's
so
right.
It just puts a different spin on the situation, you know?
That's right. Yeah. Humor is a really, really valuable tool. And I don't mean sarcasm. I mean humor.
No, humor.
Yeah.
And it's how you respond. And there's a difference between responding versus reacting. And people,
yes, ma'am.
People think
so
the
true.
two is the same. It's not the same at all. They're two different things. You know, responding allows you time and you're able to think through and in a split second you can respond, or you can decide that you will have a delayed response. You don't have to answer somebody at that point in time. And if they push you to give a response, you can say, I don't need to answer you right now.
That's right. Yeah. Agency, having the agency to decide what you do and do not put in the world.
Yeah. You know, and what power you give to the person.
Yeah. And it's so important. And you can be an incredible teacher by pausing.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You know, you can be and the person who's pushing you to respond is a wonderful teacher too.
Oh, yes, they're here to teach you. They're here to teach you. And if we look at everybody that comes into our life, crosses our path as someone to teach us, we would have a different mind shift, a different perspective on how we really live on the margin.
And that's a big thing. I agree with you. And that's a big thing is it's all about reframing, right? My life, the world hasn't changed since I was born. I mean, it's changed in my lifetime, but has it really? It's really just the same human behavior causing the same problems among us. You know, it's really just ego and fear, like running stuff instead of faith and love, right? But we can find ourselves in these little smaller communities of faith and love that are focused on these things. And if I focus there, then my impact on those around me will be more direct, right? And if I focus on the latter, totally lost my train of thought. A little lizard just scurried by my feet and it was so cute. I'm so sorry.
That's
I lost
all right.
my train of thought. It's gone.
That's okay. That's where your attention needed to be. He just passed by. He was like, hey, I'm crossing your video. You need to notice me. Okay?
He's like, hey mama, here I am. That's it.
You're out in my, as a matter of fact, you're in his territory. You're in his territory. So you need to recognize.
I had the nerve to drag a chair out here. He's like, I see you.
I see.
He was like, I give you 13 more minutes. That's all you got. That's all you got, Ma. Wrap it up.
Right? You know? You're in his territory. You need to respect.
See, here's the thing. It's reframing it. And that's exactly what it was, is reframing whatever it is that I'm concerned about or that I'm anxious about into looking at the moment, right? What's happening right now? And that little guy just brought us there, right? What's happening right now? Right? What can I control? Like, that's what I was saying, is that the world hasn't changed since I was born, but my perception has, my perspective has.
That's right.
I've had to make a choice because I crashed and burned with alcohol, because I crashed and burned with my identities that I've adopted in this life, that I've crashed and burned with certain things to the point where I had to look up and say, Lord, help me.
Yes.
I can't do this on my own. Man, I thought I could do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah. The do it yourself approach ain't working. It ain't working.
It's getting messy. I need some help. Could you help me? Could you help us, sister?
Why do we have to reach to that point, Jen? The crash and burn. the back against the wall, like when you watch those horror movies, why do we have to reach to that point? And then when you realize I have no control, there's nothing I can do, who can I reach out to? Oh my God. And you're like, oh yes, God. Why do we have to get to that point that he's the last? And you know the funny thing about it, the man just sits and waits.
That's what I'm saying. Those big, gentle hands that set our spirits on this earth and encourage us to go play and remind us that he's got a lap sitting there waiting for us when we come back. And it takes us forever to come back because we're too proud, because it's ego, because that's the human experience. I think the human experience is battling with the lies that we learn on this earth and returning to the truth that's always been in us.
Crash and burn, eh? Crash and burn. Wow. Living on the margin. I want to switch over to your website, Jen. Give me 1 second. Let me do that.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say while you're looking, you're such a treat. What a joy to have this morning with you. I mean it. I'm from the heart. I tell you, boy, it's just, I am so thrilled to be able to have this conversation with you and your listeners. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I tell you, you're meant to be black. I'm telling you. Okay. I swear. By the time I meet you, you will be fully black. Okay?
It's all perception, Mama. It's all perception.
It's all perception. It's all perception. And here we are. I have you on my screen looking beautiful as ever.
Oh, thank you.
With your book, Soul Not Skin. Yeah?
Yes,
and
ma'am.
You have here, don't miss the book release date or any other news. So you have capture where persons can stay in contact with you, put in their first name and email.
Yeah, please do.
Out of that. Yeah, and I have, let me see what else is here on you have your blog, your video.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lovely video here. Let me just play a little bit of it.
Mm. That was a...
Yay!
That was a wonderful night. Mm-hmm.
It's when we make something a bad word and we don't want to talk about it, then we have this shame, and the shame is what creates disconnection, and the disconnection is what we then seek relief from. But I understand, and I got a problem, and I need some help. For getting us to where we are tonight, so that we can talk about something that needs to be discussed. Because alcoholism and addiction are not in the bottle, they're not in the pipe, they're in the person. How y'all doing? This Jen ain't gonna come out here and tell you a little bit about where I've been. Tonight I want to talk to you just a little bit about what is addiction, why we call it disease, what is the progression of it, how does it work, and how does the family get tangled up around the individual who's ill. Thank you, world, for meeting me with such audacious challenge. You created in me a force to be reckoned with. Reckoned with. Yes.
All right. I'm going to just stop
Bless your heart.
Awesome. Yeah. Sharing. You know, it's amazing when you bring people together, the amount of pain that they carry.
Yeah.
I've had workshops where men broke down and cried.
Yes, ma'am.
Men, big men.
Oh, I taught in the jails and prisons for 10 years, and some of the most powerful work that I've ever done is sitting in those circles with men, grown men, big, intimidating, scary. The world is scared of men.
Yeah.
They're babies, they're little boys. You know what? This is what happens is someone, you know, they didn't learn what they needed to learn. They didn't get what they needed to get. And so
Love,
they've stayed little baby boys inside, the same ones that, you know, had their hand in the cookie jar, you know, that were cute enough to get away with it once upon a time. And these big man bodies grew up around them. And there's still those little tender hearts wishing somebody would give them permission to be. And that's what I wanted to do with that performance that you just showed. Is that was my first attempt of taking the power of those experiences that were inside of these institutions and trying to bring them out to the public, to the family members of the folks that I worked with inside, trying to bring that work outside so that they had somewhere to return to. Because, you know, my students would come back, they'd be released, and they'd come back and they'd say, Ms. Jen, there's just nothing out there like your classroom. There's just nothing. I don't know what to do when I get out there. Nobody creates a space for us the way that you do. And I know that people do. I've seen the work happening, but it's not prevalent enough because we fear each other instead of love each other, because we've forgotten that we belong to each other, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God, Jen, there's so much we could talk about on this topic. It's amazing. I mean, all we're looking for is just to be loved and to love.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing, just to be loved and to love. But you have to start with yourself first.
What if we connected on that instead? What if we connected on the fact that that's all that any of us want, and we gave that to each other? We spent our energy rooting ourselves in faith and love so deeply that nothing that you say can hurt me.
Yeah.
And then we treated each other. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Wouldn't that be something? If we just saw each other as hearts that were yearning, and we connected and we loved. I know it sounds very kumbaya, but sister, I'm letting you know it can happen.
Yeah, it can happen, and it will happen in time.
Yeah.
It starts with us, and it doesn't have to be a whole revolution. It just starts with one. And we have seen people in the history of our world with Martin Luther and Gandhi and a whole lot of people, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela. We could go on and on.
Yes.
People who were just one individual that changed lives.
Yes, ma'am.
And if this show can touch one person, I'm grateful.
Me too.
If whatever you say, we share here today, can reach one person, I am grateful. I'm thankful. And that's all it is. It just needs to touch. It mightn't happen in our lifetime, but we know we started something. And that's all it is to me. And we live what we say, what we teach. We live it.
Yes, ma'am.
So that people see it in us. People are like, why are you so different? Why are you like this? And you stand firm in what you believe in love. You know, there are people who do me things, you know, Jen, and I'm sure people who do you things as well. And, you know, you want to hate them, you want to be upset, but somehow, like, I just can't get to the point of upset. You know, the human part of me might initially be upset. And then when I get grounded, like you say, you know, and I go back to spirit, I go back to God about it, and I reflect on who I'm trying to be more like. God would never react in an angry way to anybody. No matter what they did to him, he is always love. He is love. And if I want to represent him on this earth, and I'm in his image and likeness, I am love.
Yes, ma'am.
I am love.
Yeah,
and I love you. I love you more than whatever you do me. And the more you do me, the more I love you.
That's right. No, really, real talk.
Really, the more you do me is the more, and it's like it reaches a point where they become scared of me, or they become puzzled by me, or they either drop whatever they were doing and just change. They're like, God, no matter what I do to this woman, she's still there. She's not giving up on me. That's right. Something gotta give, but I know I'm not giving up on my love. I am still going to pour love to you. I'm going to still send love to you.
Well, and you know, one of the things that has really helped myself and men and women who I've worked with, and I'm very much a student of. I mean, let's just get that straight. You know, I talk about being a teacher, facilitator in these environments, but I've learned so much about resilience and about courage and about respect. You know, I've learned so much from the folks that I've had the honor of working with. And the reality is that we have to every one of us, every single person on this planet, if we had the courage to face ourselves and recognize that every one of us has harmed other people.
Of course.
And every one of us has been harmed by other people. And we can focus on the differences of those kinds of harms, and we can focus on the perpetrators of the wrongdoing. But the only peace is going to be found in getting over myself and getting over my resentments and finding within myself the capacity to harm and the capacity to be harmed and to get right with that. And then I start to find the roots that allow me then to offer the space of compassion and forgiveness to those who are out there who have never been welcomed into love in spite of the harm that they've caused. And, you know, we don't typically cause harm until we have been harmed.
That's right.
That's
hurt
a really
people,
important
hurt people.
piece.
Hurt
That's
people,
right.
hurt people.
And you know what? And you know what else? Healed people heal people.
Heal people. That's right. Yeah, yeah. It's a balance.
Man.
It's a balance. Yes.
Do the work. Do the work.
Do the work.
We have to do the work.
That.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a great way to end the show. Jen, it's been a pleasure. I had fun talking with you. I know we went over time. Who gives a you know what?
You know.
Enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Lizard and all crossing
yes,
your
ma'am.
path,
That's
interrupting us on the show, the birds.
That's right.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for
too.
making this an enjoyable experience for me this morning. Thanks for
truly
being
an honor. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you.